you guys? Welcome back to the 12 Days of Wolfmas. This is day number 10. We set up a private game here in Chicago. It's 125. We are in for $500. We're currently up $3,100 on the 12 Days of Wolfmas, and I'm giving it all away to you guys. All you gotta do to be eligible is drop a comment down below. Make sure you're subscribed, and maybe also like the video for some run good. And now let's get into the hands. Let's go. Being up $3,000 sounds great, but now we have our aim on $4,000. To do this, I hosted my own game and assembled a lineup unlike any other. The characters tonight are comprised of the most fun players I've come across in Chicago. Side note, I'm thinking about doing this a few more times while I'm in the city. Message me on Instagram if you want a seat for the next one. Alright, let's get after it with the first hand here. I look down at Ace-Queen offsuit from the cutoff. LoJack, who goes by San, he raises it up to $25. And the player to my right, who you guys will be familiar with, he puts in the call by just putting his finger across the line. Yeah, he's got that prestige here at Rockford Charitable Games. Now, he's got some chips coming. He puts in the call and the action's on me. There's a raise and a call. I look down at Ace-Queen offsuit. You know what we gotta do? We gotta put more money in the middle, and I 3-bet on the smaller size to $80. I think in the moment I decided to go smaller in case San was pretty strong in this spot, so when he 4-bets, I could easily get away from the hand. If I make it like 125 and he 4-bets me, I'm just lighting like an extra $40 on fire. One thing I forgot to note is San only has around 250 in his stack, so I can't really be folding to any 4-bet jam, which is what he decides to do. He rips his entire stack in. The hijack Alex gets out of the way, action's back onto me, and I didn't host my own game to fold Ace-Queen offsuit, so I put in the call, turning over my Ace-Queen, and he shows us the bad news, Ace-King. But you know what, San? There's 5 cards in poker, and the best 5 cards are going to win, and when we flop ourselves a queen, we're off to a good start. There are 2 clubs on board. Oh wait, you don't have one, so it's going to be tough for you to win. I turn 2 pair, and the river gives me a boat. $533 coming my way. A little bit of overkill. He takes his raunchy card protector back. I didn't want it anyway, San, and I think there's one more thing I have to do when I stack an opponent. All right, San, let's see it. Oh, no. Bang.
First time.
Stacked.
First time.
Stacked. Let's see it. Let's see the badge of honor.
Could you right now? I have to assume you have something.
That's a good fold.
I maintain my standards.
You do. Hi, Robbie. Nice to meet you.
Hey, I'm Robbie McRobertson, the robber baron of the poker game.
The first thing he said is, if I win this hand, I'll be excused of cheating.
After that madness, we look down at the button at 8-6 offsuit. I have around 650 in my stack. Middle position opens up to 15, the cutoff puts in the call. I decide to call as well, and the big blind does too. That means we're going 4 ways to a flop, which gives us top pair. Alex in the cutoff leads into the field for $45, and I decide to put in the call. I'm not going anywhere when I call with 8-6 and then flop top pair. The turn comes to 9 of spades, and now he asks me what he should do.
Do you want to check a fold or a raise?
I tell him to check because that's what I want to see, and he does. He obliges, so I check behind, bringing in 2 pair for me on the river when the 6 of spades peels off. Again, he's a nice guy and asks what he should do. I say check, he checks it over to me, but I'm not quite such a nice guy. I make 2 pair, and I figure it's good in this hand. And when you think you're good in poker, go for that value. And that's what I decided to do for $65. Now, he's not done with the questions. We're playing 21 questions, apparently. And he asked me again, what should he do?
Do you want to re-raise, a call, or a fold?
Now, obviously, I would not like to see a raise. I either want to see a call or a fold. But if I say you should either call or fold, that looks super weak. So instead, I decide to say call or raise, do not fold. He takes that as strength and mucks his cards. A little disappointed I didn't get $65 more added to my stack, but taking down a $157 pot feels just as good. Alright, ace-9 of spades seems pretty good. I'm in the 3rd blind. Mung in middle position raises it up to $15, and the big blind puts in the call. Obviously, I'm going nowhere. I could be going for a re-raise, but instead I decide just to put in the call, which leads us to a flop giving me the ace-high flush draw. Big blind checks it over to me. I'm not going to bet out into Mung, so I decide to check it over to her. She checks behind, and that gives me top pair comes the ace of clubs. Big blind checks it over to me once again, and even though I have the nut flush draw to go along with my top pair, I'm still just playing an ace. And when you think about it, Mung raised preflop, so she's going to have all the strong hands like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10, a lot of hands that have me beat. So I'm going to play my hand for what it is, which is a pair of aces with a 9 kicker, and I check it over to her. She realizes that this is a good card for her range and decides to bet out for $15, and the big blind puts in the call. Now here, maybe I could be going for a raise, but I decide just to put in the 3 red chips. That's a call, and we're off to the river, which comes the 4 of clubs. It's a black card, but it's not the one we wanted to see. The action checks over to Mung once again. She goes for some thin value of $25. I'm not going anywhere when I played my pair of aces like this. I put in the call, and I'm good. She had an ace, but it was an 8 kicker, so she's not going to win that one. And we're going to take down that $142 pot. Justin, you owe me $25.
Let it work the other way. Good luck.
No honey, no money. Red. All red. Wait, it's really fun. You gotta be kidding me, bro.
All right, 700 in my stack. We're up $200 on the session. I'm in the big blind, and the hijack raises it up to $15. Small blind puts in the call. I do as well, and the third blind calls as well. Going off to a flop multi-way, which comes ace, queen, 8, all spades. I have myself a double gutted straight draw. Any king or any 9 would give me a straight, obviously. And I also have the 10 of spades, giving myself a flush draw. Pretty great board for just having jack high, but the action on the flop surprisingly gets checked around. Surprisingly, I say, because it is a pretty wet board, but we're off to the turn, which comes the 4 of diamonds. When the 4 of diamonds peels off on the turn, the small blind now bets out for $60. I have the flush draw, I have any king or any 9 giving me a straight, so I decide that's a good price. I put in the call. Maybe you shouldn't have done it so fast. I could think about going for a raise here, trying to get some weak aces to fold like ace 5, king, queen, something like that. But I just decided to put in the call, and that means we're heads up in position to a river. The river pairs the board, not the card we wanted to see. It comes to 8 of clubs, and now Alex decides to bet out for $240, as if I was going to call any size bet here. The overbet on the river just polarizes his hand. He basically has the nuts or nothing. When I fold my cards, he shows me basically the nuts, turns over pocket aces. A fun player to play with, but very dangerous when he actually has a hand, pocket aces, and he has a boat. Nice hand, Alex.
So we're doing a $15 stand-up game. The last one to stand up pay everybody $15. And if you stand up and then you win a hand, you have to show your hand.
Right, that's
to win.
important.
Yes.
Wow. All right, the stand-up game is on. If you weren't aware of what it was before, hopefully Mung's perfect explanation of that got you up to speed. I look down from the +1 position at ace 7 of hearts, and I raise it up to $25. One person puts in the call, and the action's over to the cutoff. The cutoff raises it up to $75. The button puts in the call. He's Greg, super fun guy from the home game I played in Chicago a few weeks ago, and also the guy who gave me that awesome Wolfgang shirt you guys saw in the intro. Shout out to you, Greg. He puts in the call, and Justin in the small blind puts in the call as well. I'm not going anywhere. It's a stand-up game. I have a suited ace. I'm going to put in the call, and the player in the hijack does as well. Going off to a flop 5 ways, which comes 9-7-3 with 2 spades. Not the best board. I do have middle pair, but how is it going to be good against 4 other opponents? Justin checks it over to me. I start with a check. The hijack jams all in for $200, and now Greg in the button, he rejams for around $500. Justin's in the small blind, and he doesn't want to be left out on the action. He puts in the cold call, and I get out of the way with my middle pair. How can I be good in this spot? Let's see what the hijack is sneakily playing. Jack 9 offsuit, so he has top pair. After cutting out the chips, they're off to a turn in river, which comes the 10 of hearts, followed by the 7 of diamonds. We're going to see what the other 2 players had potentially. Yes, Justin turns over queen jack of spades, so he had the flush draw and picked up an open-ended straight draw on the turn. And Greg is going to scoop this $1,600 pot with bottom set on the flop, which turned into a boat by the river. Although he had to dodge quite a few cards to end up scooping that pot, but couldn't go to a nicer guy, and I'm going to have to top up an additional $500. The game has turned into an uncapped 1-2-5. I'm in for $1,000. I have exactly $1,000 in front of me, so we're up stuck around $100 or $200 when we look down at ace-5 offsuit from the +1 position. This might be the hand of the night, you guys, so before I get into it, make sure if you haven't already to drop a subscribe and like the video. Mudkip is properly placed on the cards. You know we're going to go to battle in this one. Tom in the low jack 3-bets it to $60. This pot is going to get pretty large. I say that not because he bet $60, but because 3 other players put in the call, so I can't be folding just yet. Also, a side note, the stand-up game is still on. It's against me and Ryan. Ryan's in the hand. I think he's on the button, and if we fold the hand and he somehow wins it, I'm going to have to pay everyone $15, so I don't want that to happen, as if I was going to fold ace-5 offsuit anyways. The stand-up game just adds a little extra element. I put in the call, and we are off 5 ways to a flop. The flop comes ace-3 deuce, giving me top pair and a gutter to the straight. The action surprisingly gets checked around on this flop. I'm not going to be leading out into the field with my weak ace and a gutter. And the turn now comes the 10 of spades. The action's on me once again, and again I decide to check. I think betting out here has a little bit of merit to get called by some worse spade draws, but at the end of the day, I have a pretty weak ace, so if someone's going to do the betting for me, I'm just going to pick that off. I check my action, and it gets checked around once again, leading us to a spade on the river. It comes a 3 of spades. Ryan in the small blind decides to bet out for $100, which is not great news. I can't have him winning this pot, but to our rescue comes Alex in the third blind, and he min-clicks it back to him for $200. Action's on me. I'm going to get out of the way here to a min-click. I obviously would have called Ryan's $100 bet, and now there's a little bit of fun table talk going on between Ryan and Alex.
You rivered the 3 on me.
I did.
No.
I really did. But did you get the flush? Or was that also me?
I fucked up.
Oh, fuck.
I fucked up by not betting on the turn. That's what I fucked up on.
You fold, I show. You call, I show. You raise, I call, and then I show.
I don't think I went on. I have this.
What do you have?
I have this. Oh, I think it's just a 10. I don't think that's good enough, though.
I know I'm rooting for.
No, you should fold. But I'll show.
I have this too, but I don't think that's good enough either.
Ryan shows us that he has 2 pair aces and 10s. He wisely makes the fold, and then Alex turns over 8-3 of hearts for river trips, and he would have scooped that pot. Ryan made a great fold there. All right, we're still alive in this one. The stand-up game's still on. I look down under the gun at pocket 7s, my favorite hand, and I raise it up to $20. Tom on my left puts in the call. The small blind does as well, and the action's back over to Alex, who looks like he's reaching for more chips. He does. He decides to 3-bet it up to $70. I'm not going anywhere with my favorite hand. Plus, there's a 7 in his bet, $70 with pocket 7s. That sounds pretty good. I put in the call expecting Tom to do the same on my left, but he has evil intentions. That's not what he came here to do. He decides to 4-bet to $250. Now, I'm thinking about putting in the call here with my favorite hand. I can't really let it go, right, for $250. I got $900 behind. I'm decently deep. But all that goes out the window when Alex in the third blind decides to 5-bet jam for $550 effective. Obviously, you can see he put out around the $1,000 in green, and he has way more behind. He has the infinite money glitch here, but Tom only had around $550 in his stack. And I'm going to get out of the way and let these guys go to battle. Tom puts in the call, and we are off to a run out. Let's see what these guys had. Flop comes Jack 9-8, giving me a gutter to the straight. It comes in on the turn, so we don't want to see that. And the river card comes a 3 of diamonds. Tom has King 9 offsuit. Oh, geez. Please tell me we wouldn't have won this. And Tom turns over pocket 9s. So we actually made a good fold pre-flop. He would have flopped a set, but we caught up on the turn. That should have been my money, but instead it's going over to Tom. But no worries, we look down at 3 deuce of diamonds from the third blind. There's 1 limper, and Ryan on the button raises it up to $30. The big blind puts in the call. I'm in the third blind with 3 deuce of diamonds. I got to put in the call here to defend against Ryan. I can't be paying everybody out for $15. And the limper puts in the call as well. We're going 4 ways to a flop, which comes ace queen 4 with 2 hearts. 2 red cards, but not the ones I wanted to see. But we do have a gutter to a 5, which would give me a wheel, although that seems pretty far-fetched. The action checks over to Ryan, and he bets out into the $120 pot for $40. Alex on my right gets out of the way, and I have to defend here with 3 high and my gutter draw, because if I fold, he wins right away, and we don't want that, so I end up putting in the call. If there ever was a poker god, he's showing up now when the 5 of hearts peels off on the turn. Bang, we turn the wheel. He'll never expect that I have this. It's a double-edged sword because it is the 5 of hearts. So although I don't expect him to have too many flush draws, it makes it a little bit scary for him if he had a hand like ace king, ace queen, or maybe pocket 4s. So I'm not complaining though. What am I doing complaining? I have the wheel, and I'm going to play this one slow and check it over to him in flow. I don't want to tip off my hand just yet. My goal though on this turn is to go for a check raise. I don't want to see another heart on the river. So when the action checks over to Ryan and he decides to bet out for $75, I'm now just thinking how large I should raise. Common practice would say raise somewhere around $150 to $200, but I decided to size up. The game is crazy and I want to get more money in there and set up a river shove, so I decided to check raise him to $250. And he thinks for about, 8 seconds before putting in a few extra green chips, leading us to a river which doesn't pair the board. It comes the 9 of spades. If I was good on the turn, I'm going to be good on the river. I look over at my stack, I have around $500 left. Ryan has me covered, and there's $700 in the pot, so there's really only one move to do. If I was bluffing on the river, I'd have to shove all in. So that's what I have to do with my turned wheel, and I decided to rip it all in with 1 chip. Now Ryan goes into the tank for a long time. He's thinking about all of his options, but at the end of the day, he says out loud he just can't think of many bluffs that I would have in this spot, which I really can't blame him, and he ends up folding his cards. He doesn't show the table what he has, but it doesn't matter. He's going to have to pay everyone out $15. I later asked him what he had, and he told me he had ace 10. So yeah, he made a good fold there, and I just had a dream card come in on the turn. We're scooping in that large pot and get an extra $15 bonus from Ryan. And the best news of all is we finally get to sit down. Alright, we're finally back in profit land. I look down at pocket 10s from the cutoff. The $10 straddle is on, and under the gun raises it up to $50. Could be going for a 3-bet. Actually, I probably should be going for a 3-bet, but in the moment, I just decided just a flat call, which brings in the third blind. We are going 3 ways to the flop. The flop comes 9-8-5 all clubs, and surprisingly, the third blind and under the gun both check it over to me. I have an overpair, and they're both red cards, so I don't really want to see another club. So in my head, I decide I need to bet, and I decide to do it to the tune of $65 into the $163 pot, which apparently is pretty strong because both other players fold, and we're taking down another pot, and I'm not complaining because it's more chips in my stack and more chips for you guys. 2 hands to go, I raise it up to $50 and then look down at pocket kings from under the gun. The player on my left is Tom, aka Blind Theory Optimal Wizard, and he 3-bets me to $100. Guess you can learn this move in his course. The cutoff position is Justin, and he calls that $100 bet, which is music to my ears. I make sure that I do in fact have pocket kings, and I'm going to go for a raise here. It's just how much should I do it? If I was just against Tom, I'd probably make it like $300. But against Tom and Justin, I size up to the tune of $450, especially because I'll be out of position to both other players. I also don't mind just taking down the $200 pre-flop. And unfortunately though, that is what's going to happen. My 4-bet there was pretty strong, but no complaints. I'm taking down some extra money for you guys. Last hand to go, we look down with $14.50 in my stack at King Jack from the small blind. The $10 straddles on, the button raises it up to $30, and I'm in the small blind with King Jack, so I decide to 3-bet it up to $100, and the player on the button puts in the call. The flop, turn, and river all get checked down. He turns over King 7. Our King Jack is going to play, and we're going to scoop in that last hand of the night.
Disgusting. No, disgusting your KKK hat. Sorry, flip it around.
There it is, there it is.
Oh, I misread it. I'm sorry.
And these are waters, right?
With that last hand in the books, we rack up our chips and head over to the cage, exchanging them for some cold, hard cash. Alright, you guys, that wraps up that insane 2-5 session. We got Justin here.
Yo.
Got a few war wounds, but in the end, we got out for $15.11. We bought in for an additional $500. That means a profit of $511.
Oh, good.
Bringing the money that we're giving to everyone on Christmas Day up to, I think, like $3,500 or $3,600. It's all for free. All you gotta do is subscribe and drop a comment down below and like the video for future Run Good. There's 2 more days left. I'm gonna grind the next 2 days for you guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Go check out Justin Escalona. I'll drop a little link below since he made the video like 10 times better. And as always, you guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.